session.
Please be seated. We are back on the record in case number DV10-01877, McDowell versus McDowell. The record will reflect that the parties and counsel are present. Ms. Mahan, are you prepared to call your next witness?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. May I have just a moment?
Of course.
I know I just had 15.
No.
Yes, Your Honor. I would call my client Keith McDowell.
Sir, if you'll come up, please.
Just need to watch your step. Remain standing. Please take the work.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated.
Would you state your name and spell your last name for the record, please?
My name is Keith McDowell, McDowell.
And where do you reside right now?
6360 Park Place, Reno, Nevada.
And what cross streets is that near?
Rob Drive.
And approximately when did you purchase that house?
October of 2001.
And did you take out a loan on that property when you purchased it?
No, I paid cash.
And where did you get the proceeds to buy the home?
Inheritance from my parents' death.
What do you do for a living?
I have 3 jobs.
Just tell me, let's start with the first
I
one.
work at UPS part-time during the days. I work overnights at a group home for disabled adults. That's full-time overnights from 10 at night till 6. From 10 at night till 6 the following morning. And then I work the weekends playing music for That's Entertainment International.
And what do you earn at UPS?
I earn between $550 and $750 a month, depending on
How many hours per day do you work there on average?
3.5.
And that's 5 days per week?
Yeah.
And what is the time from when to when?
They change, but it's always no earlier than 11:30 and no later than 5:30.
11:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
So you start typically sometime around 11:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
And you get done at 5:30 in the evening? Or a little earlier sometimes?
Yeah. Well, how UPS does it, I don't want to make it complicated, but they change it every day. So every day is a different start time, and you work 3.5 hours or 4, depending on how they want.
But typically you don't start later than what time?
I never start later than 1:30.
And so we're
Well,
talking...
no, 2. I never start later than 2. Let me
we're
correct that.
talking in the afternoon?
Yeah.
And so then you would typically get off of that around 5:30 to 6:30?
Latest 5:30. 6 is the latest I've ever gotten off.
Okay. And then you have 4 hours before you go to your other job?
Yeah, I have a half-hour commute either way, so that gives me 3.5 hours before I go to my next job.
And your next job, tell me again, what is your actual job title in that group home?
Well, facilitator is what they call my position.
And what do you do?
I diaper, bathe, toilet, bed, turn, catheter, feed. I mean, a good description would be kind of like a live-in nanny nurse for 4 disabled adult males.
And are you the only person on site during your shift?
Yeah, during overnights, I'm the only staff.
And so then when your shift ends, somebody else takes
Yeah.
over for the other part of the day?
Yes,
And so
they
when
can
you
never be
are
left alone.
at this job from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m., you said?
Yeah.
Do you typically get to sleep during that period?
No.
All of it?
No. It's a 24-hour facility.
And has filed a financial declaration in this case in early 2011. Has your income changed substantially since then?
It's gone down,
By how much?
about $200 a month.
Okay. But you don't have any different jobs than you had then?
No, same jobs.
So let's talk about the third job, which is related to music, correct?
Yeah.
And what do you do in that job?
I play drums and I sing. I play for a couple of different contract bands that work for That's Entertainment International, and they have the contracts for all the casino cabarets. So
In a typical
Sands,
week,
Peppermill.
or I don't know, in a typical week, how many times would you do that?
I only work doing music on the average twice a month. So I would do 2 weekends a month.
Each weekend would be the whole weekend?
Friday and Saturday. Some of the accounts are Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And some of the accounts are only Saturday.
And
So,
what do you earn
depends.
from that?
I earn base no less than $100 a night, but I've never made more than $135 a night.
$135?
Yeah, that's scale, is $100 a night.
Okay. When did you, how long have you been at UPS?
4 years.
And how long have you been at the group home?
3 years. I worked for the first 2 years for same job title and everything. It's just 2 different companies. One's called HSI, High Sierra Internet, not International, High Sierra Industries. Sorry, and then another one of their competitors, and they're called Going Places, which is they do the same thing. It's group homes for.
And that's the one that you're with right now, right?
Well, I worked for High Sierra, and then I worked for about a year for Going Places, and now I'm back with High Sierra.
Now, right now you are working at, well, as doing the job that you're doing in this group home, do you have a paycheck? Are you considered an employee?
Yes,
Do you receive a W-2?
yes,
Do taxes come out of your
Yes.
paycheck? And does your employer pay payroll taxes on your behalf?
yes.
Now, in a prior phase of your life, did you run or operate group homes?
Yes.
And what time period was that you were doing that?
92 through 99.
And what were they called?
McDowell Youth Homes Incorporated.
And why did that stop?
Oh, I left before it stopped. I resigned in 98 because of the divorce I was going through. I was in the same courtroom as the family court judge who placed a lot of kids in our program. So, conflict of interest, I had to step down until the divorce was final. In the meantime, my mom and dad, my brother and my sister died all in that year. So my resignation became permanent. And so 98 was the last year I worked in the organization. The organization stayed open until 2001. Or it might have been 2002. Don't want to be held to it because I wasn't involved. But I know they were open as of 2001.
So you initially separated yourself from it because of the possible conflict of interest, and that was what judge?
McGee.
And then after that, you said you had a series of tragedies,
Yes.
and that happened in a 1-year span, and that...
Well, a year and a half. It started out with my sister dying and my brother dying. They died very, very close to each other. And then, of course, my father and mother. That was about 6 months after that, and they died very shortly, near to each other, too.
And one of your parents committed suicide.
My father, yeah.
And so at that point, I decided to go in a different direction. You weren't interested in group homes, or?
Dad. Time to be a dad. I had 3 children to raise.
And you were just divorced, correct?
Yes.
And
Well, I wouldn't even finish being divorced. My divorce took 3.5 years.
And at the end of the divorce process, fair to say it's the same time range that you got the Park Place house?
After the divorce was over, I got yeah.
And you chose that house for a specific reason?
Yeah.
What would that be?
School district. It was Billinghurst, Westergaard, and McQueen, and they were all in walking distance.
And how many children do you have?
3.
And are any of those children living with you right now?
2.
And how long have they each been living with you?
Brianna has lived with me ongoing, my daughter, but my son just is moving back in currently as we speak. He started moving his belongings in on last Thursday.
And do they pay you rent?
Yes, they do.
What does Brianna pay?
Brianna pays me $200 plus utilities and her own phone bill, so that turns out to $400 a month. $200 of that is just rent, and then my son pays $300 rent, plus same deal, utilities and
Is
phone.
that because he has a bigger part of the house? Where
Yeah.
he's
Mm-hmm.
from? And is your daughter in school or working?
Yes, in fact, she is. Well, she both. School hasn't officially started for her. She just did her FAFSA. I can't help her with it because I can't do my taxes until this proceeding is,
Why can't you do your taxes?
because all of the tax income for the rental property for my house when it was a group home was sent to me in 1099 form in my name only, thereby causing me a lot of tax debt for the home.
And that's for what tax year?
2010, but it came in 11, so it was for the year of 2010,
Correct.
I believe.
So you haven't
I think so.
you haven't filed your 2010 taxes?
I did not file because when I got to the point where I could file, and I said I got to the point where I could file.
Let
and
me
when
stop you for a second. You started the process how?
TurboTax.
Okay. And what happened?
Well, TurboTax you have to pay to file, and if you can't print or do anything until you actually pay them to file. When I got to the very end, it said I owed $4,300. And the only way I could wipe some of that out was the big chunk of it was the rental income. So I just put it on hold. I'm going through a divorce, and I want that. I would like to bring that to the court's attention before I just eat that.
Okay, so now the prior year, tax year 2009, did you and Ms. McDowell file a joint return?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, did Rivendell 1099 the two of you for Park Place rental income on?
I did not get a 1099, so I do not know how that was handled.
Okay. Well, would you turn to what is marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit O?
Gotcha.
Now what is this?
This is a tax year 2009 Rivendell Independent Living.
Oh, I apologize. Would you please turn to Exhibit Z as in zebra?
This is our joint tax return for 2008.
And if you look at that, was there a refund owed to you in that tax year, or did you guys owe taxes?
I could be reading this wrong, but it says 4,675.
Correct. You're looking at line
73A.
73A. Okay. And so in that year, it appears you got a refund, and is that what you recall?
I did not get the money.
Okay. Will you turn to the next exhibit, which is AA?
Ted, this is a joint tax for year 2009.
Okay. You look at page 2 of that.
Yes. 800. Oh, sorry.
Does it appear that there was a refund or an amount owed?
A refund of 873.
Exhibit W.
Buyers, borrowers, final settlement statement.
And so this has already been admitted by stipulation. And this is the final settlement statement for the most recent loan taken out on the Park Place resident. Is that correct?
Yes.
And according to that settlement statement, on or about, let's see, the close date is 8/29/07. And the amount after closing fees received, if you look at balance due towards the bottom, do you believe that that's the amount that was received?
Yeah.
$100,330.06.
Yes.
What occurred that caused you to take that loan out against your home?
The prior business, which I was involved with, I worked there until I was no longer welcome.
What was that called?
It was called 24/7 TLC. It was run by Tonya McDowell. I was supposed to be the program manager / director. At least that's what I was promised if I, worked hard and did things. I invested heavily into it myself, personal money-wise, out of this first loan. And that money, I got a phone call saying that
You got a phone call from whom?
Tonya McDowell, I don't remember exactly what the date was, but I got a phone call saying, hey, if I get arrested, you got to bail me out. I'm in the parking lot of Wells Fargo. Arlene Giacovelli says that I'm trying to embezzle money and the cops are here to take me away. That's exactly what happened. And I said, okay, I'm right here. I'm here to help. What can I do? I found out later that she just simply gave the police the money, the check back, and that the legal proceedings that were going to happen as a result of all that from her cousin, Arlene, were forthcoming, and that what we needed to do was move.
Let me stop you for 1 second here. So that's sort of background. My question was, and the information you're getting is relevant, but I'm just trying to keep it a little bit more concise. My question was, what was it that caused you to take out this loan?
To start a business. To start a business.
Background of what caused
To
you
start a business.
And
So-
sir, I'm going to ask you, I know you want to give your answer, but we're recording this and only one person can talk at a time.
Agreed.
So let your counsel finish her question and then you can answer.
Okay, so after what you just described happened, sounded like she said that to you and you were supportive of her. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you at any time at that point believe that the accusations against her were correct?
No.
And did she represent to you that they were not correct?
She represented that Arlene was lying.
Okay. And so at that point, how long after the day that occurred? And one moment. Would it be reasonable in your mind that it occurred somewhere around June 19th, 2007?
That would have been when she got, that's when she got accused
I'm
of,
talking about when you got that phone call.
yeah, that's when that happened.
And so, after that, how did the subject of taking money from the house first come up?
The subject of taking money from the house came up when, one, there was no potential source of income other than my jobs that I was working, and the fact that she was telling me, be more specific. Tonya told me that she could bill for $2,800 a month minimum per client, and that all we needed was the capital to clean up the mess from the prior business, all the legal fees and all the other things associated with that prior business, so that there would be no repercussions start up a new business, and that all those clients that were in the other business would simply transfer to the new business, and we would have $30,000-$40,000 a month income straight away from the current business we were operating that got, and I'm using my fingers to make a quote sign, that got stolen by her cousin by lying about Tonya. So I sat down, and now because of what happened, I want to add this, because of what happened, I did not just go run out and get a loan like I sat down on the bed with her and I said, I want to know what's the real deal. I can't borrow money against this house unless I'm involved. Because I was already promised one time that if I got involved in a business with Tonya, I would be program manager, and that I would make a good living, and that it's okay for me to quit my jobs because I'm going to go work there in this business. We're going to be happy and have a business. I was lied to once before. I was not fired, but I was forbidden from working with the other business by Tonya and her friend. These are the same people that are on her board now. Okay, and that we would simply start a new business together. It would be me and my wife starting a business 50-50. I would be co-founder and I would be program manager if we were to get this loan. Before I even did that, we sat down on the bed, wrote down on a yellow pad, legal pad, exactly, precisely, directly what would happen with the money. And it was within a month, I think it was within 2 months of actually signing that, I saw the little leather binders that come with from the county that say, hey, here's your corporation paperwork binders, and there's my name as co-founder. Now, I don't know about what we've seen so far as board of directors. What I saw said co-founder. That went on the bedroom shelf, and I thought everything would be okay. But right away, we had to pay our loan payment out of the loan I just took. She refused to go on the loan. Her name does not appear on this loan, although it did appear on the deed, because she needed to keep her credit free for the business. She wanted to buy some homes so that she wouldn't pay rent. So anyway.
That's how that loan came about.
Yep.
And you said that because of what had already happened, you had this discussion with her, and you were on the paperwork, and the money, as we can see from Exhibit W, came through on August 29th, 2007.
Yes.
Once the funding came through, what, if anything, was your involvement with the day-to-day operations of Rivendell?
I was forbidden from having anything to do with Rivendell.
Why? What was the reason?
Tonya didn't trust me. I had to earn her trust.
Did she say why she didn't trust
No.
you? Would you turn to what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit HH? So it'll be almost at the very back of the book.
Wow. Account statement, July 21st through August 20th, 2007. Joint account, Wells Fargo.
Yes. If you look at what's the first page of that exhibit, and what are the statement dates at the top left?
July 21st through August 20th, 2007.
Okay, and what does it say that the opening and closing balances were?
Opening and closing. But the top one is $1,806.24, and the bottom one is $1,455.72.
Would you say that prior to getting that loan money, that was, in that stage, was that a fairly typical amount of in-go and out-go for that bank account?
Yeah, that's normal, except I don't understand what the $9,000 in and out. I don't know what that is.
Well, if you look at the next page, it lists some deposits, like on 7/26, a transfer from Visa. At that time, were you taking money off credit cards to live? Okay. And then it looks like there's a transfer from savings, and then some other transfers. Would you turn, please, to what's marked as, yeah, same exhibit, page 10. And by the way, this account is a joint checking account at Wells Fargo, correct?
Yes.
To your knowledge, did you personally have any other accounts at Wells Fargo during that time period?
Not to my knowledge, but there may have been an account for Lost in Art Sound Design in 2002. But
to your
nobody
knowledge,
was
in
able to
this
find
time period
anything.
in 2007, was there an
Right.
account, let me be more specific, was there an account that you were using on any
No.
regular basis?
No,
Other than this one?
no,
And was there an account that you personally were using on a regular basis, other than this one at a different bank?
no,
No. And are you still with Wells Fargo?
no.
So if you, if you look at this front page, it appears that $106,515.82 was deposited sometime between August 21st and September 21st of 2007.
Yes,
If you turn to the next page, that's marked as page 11, you see on the 29th, a deposit that went into the account, a large deposit?
yes,
And it's at the same amount that we just referenced from the escrow in Exhibit W?
yes,
So then on the 29th of August is when the money went into the account.
yes.
Now, if you go back to the prior page, I'm sorry, back to page 10. What do you see as being the amount of withdrawals, just in that first month that the loan money came in?
$54,000.
A little bit
Well,
more than that, actually.
$54,094.45.
And when you obtained this statement, did that surprise you?
No, because it was agreed that money would need to be spent to start the business and to clean up old messes.
What old messes are you referring to?
That was discretionary up to Tonya. All the stuff that was written on the piece of paper pretty much went right out the window as soon as the check cleared the
Do you
account.
know where that piece of paper is today?
She kept it safe for me. In fact, as of 6 months ago, via the phone and text messages, she claims to still have it. But I've asked, and
Would you turn to what is marked as page 19 of this exhibit, please? So the deposit came in on the 29th, and what does this appear to you to be?
that is a loan payment repaid to Monica Dupay, who was one of her former employees.
And it says in the memo line, Rivendell.
Yeah,
Is that the handwriting and signature that you know to be Tonya McDowell's?
yes.
Turn to the following page. Who does that appear to be to?
Susanna Case,
And also in the memo line for Rivendell Inc.
Rivendell Incorporated.
The following page. The following page, 21.
Do you want me to read it?
Yes,
Okay. Margaret Phillips, Rivendell Incorporated.
for $2,400.
Yes.
Following page,
Sandy Finelli, Rivendell Incorporated, $2,170. Children's Behavioral Services, bookkeeping, $1,012.50.
Now, how about this next page? It appears to say in the memo line, taxes $19.99. Was that for a tax debt that you owed prior to marrying Ms. McDowell? On page
Yes.
24.
Yes,
Okay. So you will agree that that money did not go to Rivendell?
correct.
And, Madam Clerk, on that particular document, there's a social security number that appears. I'd like that redacted, please.
So, that might be on the tax returns too.
If you'll check the tax returns.
On the following page, page 25.
Best Buy, $1,041. That was for the camera and the TV for the group home.
And is that your handwriting?
Yes.
And what group home are you referring to?
The one that was being opened,
What address?
Crown Canyon. It was being negotiated, and items were needed to, we call it furnish. We furnish the group home.
And page 26?
Margaret Phillips, 214 lease, $1,400.
Do you know what that was for?
No.
That was apparently written by Ms. McDowell, correct?
Yes, Tonya.
And 27?
Sharon Steele, $1,000.
It's okay if you can't read it.
Guessing it says September, written by Tonya McDowell.
And do you know who Sharon Steele is?
Yeah, she's the therapist that was hired to be the therapist for the new business.
Does she run a business?
She became the therapist for the Rivendell business we were starting.
How about page 28?
R.C. Willie, $4,568.37. That was for the living room for the group home
At Crown Canyon?
at Crown Canyon, and it currently is in Washington. That set is in Rohan.
Okay. And is that in your handwriting?
Yes.
How about the next one? Page 29?
R.C. Willie, $3,006. That is a 62-inch television that is currently in Rohan
And how do you know that to be the case?
because her little brother moved it up there and Josh helped him.
Okay. You refer to Josh, do you know the person who testified in this case today?
Yes.
Now, if you look at page 30 of this exhibit, we are a month out, well, between a month and 2 months out from when the funds were received. And at that point, there's still $44,036.80 left.
Yes.
Now, we don't have any more of these checks to keep putting with the other statements. And why is that?
I ran one. When I went to Wells Fargo to order the checks, they're $5 each. I ordered 22 for the 1 month. Out of that first month, I ordered 22. They could only put their hands on 11 of them. So out of all the checks I requested, I only got 11. And, well, I don't have enough money to pay the loan and order an infinite number of checks. I just went after the first, biggest ones I could order. Plus the $10 a month fee that it costs to get the actual printouts up so you could know what to order.
Would you please turn to Exhibit E?
Okay, I'm at Exhibit E. It's Action Coach Certified Practicing Business Coach. Jeremy Fairbanks.
And have you seen this before?
Yes.
And how did you first become aware of this website?
First became aware of the website from Tonya when she said, I'm going to go through this coaching service. But at the time, I didn't spend a lot of time on the website. I became aware of the contents that are here in front of me in the exhibit when Josh Welsh emailed me a link through Facebook on a private message.
Okay. And if you turn, so it says at the top of the page, what does that say?
It says it's the testimonial page for his services as testimonials. Oh, very, very tip top?
Top left.
Testimonials, Action Coach, Jeremy Fairbanks, Business Coach.
Okay. And are you on the page that's marked 7 in the bottom right-hand corner?
Yes.
And under the big word testimonials in the top center of the page, could you read the paragraph that's under that?
Hold on. This document is not in evidence.
Okay.
I was getting ready to make that objection, but yes.
Your Honor, I would request that this be admitted into evidence.
Your Honor, we object. It's not been properly authenticated, and there is no basis for us. For one thing, there's hearsay within it. Second off, the statements that are on it that I think they're going to try to attribute to my client, there is no way to authenticate that those were actually written by my client and not by someone else, or otherwise edited or changed by Mr. Fairbanks himself.
Well, Your Honor, as far as the hearsay, it is her client that is allegedly speaking, and she's available for cross-examination to be asked about the contents of the website. And my client can testify that this is a website that he's been to, that he has seen this entry, that he printed it off, and that it is the same one that it was. She will have the opportunity when she is on the stand.
Problem is that hearsay has to come in through her. You can't get it in through him.
There's no way to authenticate other than through her, whether or not she actually, these are her statements, if there's somebody else's.
Until we know whether these are actually Ms. Luna's client's statements,
Okay, that's fine.
the court sustains the court's objection. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So, can you tell me then, without reading the contents of this, after you read it, what sort of impression did you have about how Rivendell was doing?
I had the impression that their profits were up 633% since beginning to use the services of Jeremy Fairbanks.
And would you turn to Exhibit M?
M. It's defendant's supplemental response.
Yes, defendant's first supplemental response to plaintiff's request for production of documents. This exhibit has already been admitted. Would you please turn to page 20 of that exhibit.
Rivendell Independent Living Incorporated, 2007, 2008.
Yes, and what does, if you look for a moment at page 2 of this exhibit, it states in number 15, 16, and 17 that Ms. McDowell has attached 1099 forms. These are the forms that we went over with her earlier in the case today. And so on page 20, What is the top one? Who does that appear to be issued to?
The Action Business Coaching.
Okay. And what does it actually say?
ACJ Business Coaching.
Okay. And if you turn to page 26 of the same. Is there another one there to the same section?
Yes. ACJ Business Coaching. $28,000, 740.
Why don't you turn to page 35? That's the Do you see another similar entry there?
Yes.
And who is that to, and then what amount?
ACJ Business Coaching, $19,180.
And does that appear, based on this paper, to be from the 2010 tax year?
Yes.
But that, turn to what has been marked as, one moment. What is marked as Exhibit II? That's almost at the very back.
Okay. Bartlett's Home Improvement.
Yes. Now, approximately when was it that a decision was made to turn Park Place into a group home?
That was the business decision was made to turn it into a group home when we started the business and took the money out, got the loan.
So are you saying
It was part of the plan. It wasn't going to happen immediately. We needed to live somewhere. But part of the plan was to turn the home we lived in into a profitable business. Group home.
And when you did that, was there a lease, a written lease?
There was a when it was turned into a group home, there was a verbal lease. A written lease was requested, but never supplied.
Who requested a written lease?
I requested it
Of who?
from Tonya.
And what was her response when you would ask for a written lease?
We're married.
Did Crown Canyon have a written lease?
I don't know. I was never allowed to see that. But they were good friends. I don't know if they had a special.
And what was the condition of the Park Place residence when it began being used as a group home?
It was in leasable, good condition. In good repair.
And how did you come to learn that Park Place was no longer going to be used as a group home?
A text from Tonya McDowell on October 4th, and it said the following.
October 4th of what year?
2010.
Okay.
The house is your problem. Beginning and end of text. She was not in town. She could not be reached. I hadn't heard from her for 3 weeks prior to that.
But had you been at the home?
No.
Where were you?
I was living in the condo that we were living in that was corporately paid for. I wasn't even on the lease to the place we were living in. I was
And
told that.
What was the address of that condo?
2177 Golden Eagle Court, Reno, Nevada, across from McQueen High School, very near to my property.
So at that was the first that you learned that the home was no longer being used as a group home?
Yes,
Because you were no longer, at one time, were you working in the group home on Park Place?
on Crown Canyon.
On Crown Canyon? You
Yes.
never worked in the group home on Park Place?
Nope.
And so what did you do after you received that text?
Drove directly to it. And,
And what did you find when you got there?
well, I found the home empty. I found the home largely unlivable. I'll just summarize it that way. It was unlivable. Most of the belongings that were left there were still in place, unusable, and it was in bad repair. There were problems, big problems,
Such as?
such as the downstairs toilet not even being attached to the floor, such as the pergo flooring in the kitchen being completely ripped up, bubbled up from, I'm guessing something flooded multiple times. Such as the lawn being removed, completely gone, no more lawn, replaced with just rock. The irrigation system wasn't working. The carpet, it was very obvious that there were multiple cats in the residence for an extended period of time. I'll just leave it at that. You can infer what you will. A broken window. Gosh, do I have to be really thorough, or can I just say it was?
And did you attempt to, strike that, to your knowledge, were there pets in any of the other group homes?
No.
Were they permitted if the clients wanted to have pets?
No.
To your knowledge, did you have any knowledge there were going to be pets in the Park Place group?
No.
And did you attempt to resolve the damage issue with Ms. McDowell?
She was unreachable by phone or by text or email.
What was your understanding of where she was?
She was out of cell phone range and in Washington.
What was your understanding of why she was in Washington?
Well, I knew by then why she was in Washington. She was up there moving in. She had moved her belongings in. That's where she was living.
How did you first learn that there was any property at all in Washington?
My daughter found a tore-up lease agreement in the trash can at 2177 Golden Eagle Court, approximately, I want to say, almost 5 months before that. So that would be, she was still in high school, so it was during the school year, and brought it to me. A lease with option to buy a winery in Washington, in the trash can.
And did you, when you found that, did you address it with Ms. McDowell?
Yes, I did.
And what was her response?
If I could trust you, I would tell you things.
Was that a common response you would get from her?
That was the only response I would get from her as soon as the check cleared.
What check are you referring to?
The loan check.
Now, what
It
is Exhibit II?
looks like a estimate from a home repair corporation.
I don't object to any discussion of this exhibit at all. I think I gave Ms. Mayhem a lot of leeway. This particular exhibit, to the best of my knowledge and the best that I can determine, was not disclosed to us until I received the trial book yesterday.
Ms. Mayhem?
It came in late. It did come in late.
I mean, this document is from September 30th, 2011. This is definitely not something they got last minute.
It's
Then,
being offered for the purposes of supporting his testimony about the condition of the home. It was not intentionally withheld until the last minute. There are many, many things I never got at all, much less got at the last minute. Just to sort of corroborate the statements that he's making, a business record of a visit to his home by a licensed contractor.
I mean, this would be an expert disclosure in my mind that should have been disclosed way earlier on. I mean, in addition, it's hearsay statements within it.
I sustain the objection. Exhibit II is not coming in.
Would you Are we stipulating to JJ?
Oh, let me look at it. You handed that to me this morning, I think it was just the values on the card. We don't on it, because it's just the value of his vehicle.
All right. No objection to admission then?
Not on JJ, no.
All right. Exhibit JJ will be admitted.
Mr. McDowell, would you turn to Exhibit JJ, please?
NDAguides.com price report Toyota Land Cruiser.
Yes. Do you have a 1997 Toyota Land Cruiser?
Yes.
How many miles does it have on it approximately?
254,000.
And what condition would you describe it as being in?
Poor.
Is it drivable?
Yes.
Is that the vehicle that you use for everyday use?
Yes.
Thank you. May I take a 5-minute break?
Of course. We'll be back at 4 o'clock.